It is time once again for your Yokoi Kids Game of the Month game review, and in keeping with the spooky season, we are playing as the Lord of Darkness himself with Kid Dracula, released for the Game Boy in 1993. Now, I had mistakenly thought I'd played this game beforehand, but it turns out I was only half correct, as I'd played the NES version, released 3 years prior, as part of the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. As stated in Kid Dracula, you play as the vampire lord who has to fight his way through 7 different stages in order to stop the demon lord Galamon. A spin-off from the Castlevania series, Kid Dracula carries some of the humor as its other parody counterpart, Parodius, such as in the first boss battle where you fight a series of ghosts until you reach an elderly one who all he does is exhaust himself and then passes out before promptly being dragged off. This is also a recurring theme with all the bosses in this game, making you think you've won the battle and then throwing something else at you, such as with the series of ghosts, or watch this battle with Giant Chicken. Yes, I said Giant Chicken. That I defeat without issue, and just before it falls off the screen, it happens to lay an egg, which really does nothing but bounce around the screen until you defeat it. The strangest occurrence with these boss battles, though, has to be when you defeat the Grim Reaper Ghost and suddenly the screen starts shaking before a giant robot of all things appears. What the two have to do with each other is lost on me. One thing that goes hand in hand with the boss battles, though, is a series of abilities you unlock as you progress, and while some just help with attacking, such as firing bats or homing projectiles, there are others you need to progress through both levels and battles, such as the ability to turn into a bat, walk upside down on the ceiling, and an umbrella that belonged to your father. Yes, it is actually a really useful power-up. An example of that being this hallway near the end of the game where there's a series of fire-breathing aliens, which, if you stop to try and fight, you will end up just getting crushed by the ceiling falling behind you as you go. I found the solution to this is to pull out the umbrella and just run straight forward. It'll block the fireballs, and the aliens will jump up into the ceiling, which instantly kills them. Now, while this might actually make the game seem easy, it's anything but that, with having to navigate over pits of fire and having to do battle while riding on a roller coaster, giving you only a narrow platform to stand on while dodging projectiles. This on top of countless enemies, and plenty of tricky jumps to make means you have a chance of dying a lot, and you'll have to start the level from the beginning if you get a game over. To offset this, you are given opportunities to get plenty of extra lives by playing minigames at the end of each stage using the coins you pick up throughout. And while the choices are shuffled around, it is easy enough to pick the game you want if you pay attention. The one I would recommend and ended up playing almost exclusively was Choice D, Jump and Pop. And while I couldn't quite get the timing perfected, I did good enough to the point that I had 14 lives by the time I got to the final stage, and that's considering how many times I died prior. And that has been my review of Kid Dracula on the Game Boy. Overall, despite all the challenges and frustrations, this has been a really fun title, and unlike Parodius, it's actually easier than its main console counterpart, though still has plenty to offer, and is a worthwhile entry a few years into the Game Boy's lifespan. And if you like horror-type games with some quirky humor, then I would certainly recommend this one. And if you enjoyed my review, then make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, go check out all of my other past Game of the Month game reviews, as well as Yokoi Kids, the club which provides a new Game Boy game to check out every single month. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.